Peace, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to be talking about something that I made mention of in an earlier video when we had DIBIA E in Toronto. He was showing us how to use the P6, the Roland P6, and he said there is a technique that he would use to get his drums, and he said it was going to blow my mind, and lo and behold, it definitely did.
Oh, then let me show you how I do the drums in this bitch though. Going trip. The tempo is 81. I'ma just put the delay effect on. Set this to 1. Have this at 99. So watch this.
Is this recorded you doing that?
That's crazy, that.
Infinite loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, infinite loop. Bugging.
Science. So what exactly he does is takes the delay, turns it all the way to its full decay so that it's basically an infinite looper. On the way back to the Airbnb, he told me the person that he knows to have come up with this technique was a man by the name of Dakim. If you're not familiar with Dakim, he's a producer originally from Detroit but lives in the Bay Area, and you know, he's a big influence in that West Coast instrumental scene. I had a chance to talk with him after DIBIA E told me about this technique. I had to reach out to him and get his side of the story, and this is what he had to say.
All right, so full transparency, this is not the first time we recorded this video, so you know, it might not be as thorough of a conversation as it was the first time, but you know, got to make sure we got it done. We got the man Dakim in the place. Quick backstory: DIBIA was here a couple weeks ago. We went over to the homie Raz Fresco's crib, and he was cooking up with him, playing him beats or whatnot, showing him the Roland P6 actually, and he said something. He's like, "Yo, watch how I do the drums. It's gonna blow your mind." And so he's showing this technique to basically use the delay as a looper, right? And then when I was driving him back to the Airbnb, he was telling me that it was you, that it's basically your technique. You know what I'm saying? Long story short, so I went down the rabbit hole. I watched your Boiler Room again, because I watched it before, but I didn't even, my brain couldn't even compute what you were doing. I was just hearing beats. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he basically put me onto what you kind of came up with, and yo, that shit blew my mind, bro. I can't even lie to you. So how did you, like, what was the moment where you realized that you had something, or like what were you thinking to even come up with something like that?
I guess we got to tell the whole story of how the thing even came about, or why it came about, rather. I saw a Boiler Room. It was Theo Paris, and I was amazed. And at that moment, I determined to do a Boiler Room myself, having no connection, no know-how, none of that. I just said, all right. It was the seed was planted. So then, just kind of in the natural process, messing around with the OG 404 that I had at the time. I might have just had like some drums on the pads or something and had the delay going, and it's like I might have heard something, you know. I might like hit a kick and a snare, and then I heard it repeat, and I'm like, oh, that's a beat happening. So then I just went deeper into the process, and yeah, it wasn't something that I set out to do, you know. Just a natural part of, you know, creativity and just the flow of things, and being willing to kind of have an open ear for something that's unexpected. And not only that, but like going down that path, going down the rabbit hole, like, oh, it's some treasure in there. So let me go explore this place. So yeah, that's pretty much all it was. So I did that for about 3 months. Once I kind of stumbled into the technique, and I was recording tapes, you know, digital, you know, on hard drives, you know, lots of files, lots of cassette tapes of just practicing this technique. And I tell you what, man, a lot of stuff that I put down on the tapes was, in my opinion, way colder than anything on Boiler Room or anything people heard, because I was just like zoning out, and for so long and so consistently, so often, it's like I really in all them hours worth of loops, there's a few interesting things in there. I mean,
And
I'll go back.
it's so unpredictable. So, you know, the more you experiment with it, like you're bound to come up with some different shit that you couldn't recreate even if you tried. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's why it's so dope, and that's why it kind of gave me the, like, basically that's limitless, basically ideas, because you're doing stuff that even if you, like I said, even if you tried to duplicate it, you couldn't. So for me personally, I would probably use it specifically for drum patterns, just to get different grooves of drum patterns and stuff like that. I know you could do it with your sounds and your samples and all that, but me, that's where, you know, the light bulb went off. Like, okay, you having some beat block and you want to try get a different groove as a drum pattern or something, then, you know, you try to throw some shit at the delay and see what happens.
Wow.
Right?
I appreciate that, man. Yeah. Yeah, there was like a little time, maybe a couple of years ago, when I kind of experimented with that. Like, let me just do the drum track like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, see what I can add on to it. But yeah, man, like I haven't really dealt with this process in a while, really. So you know, I appreciate that it's come back up. And of course, the homie DiBia E is like he you know, he just keeps the energy moving for like the whole culture, you know. So
yeah. So what I learned last time was that you got to make sure that you're triggering the sounds from a different source, as opposed to just doing it all in the box like how you would be able to do it with the older units. So I mean, that's a key point, you know, because something happens where it re-triggers the delay, and then the loop is not as seamless as it would be if you're just taking your drums. So the way I would do it is, you know, get a MIDI keyboard, plug up my 404 into my Ableton, load up some sounds on my Ableton, and just trigger them from the MIDI back into the 4/4, loop them around, resample them, whatever, and yeah.
Oh man, yeah, you got it exactly right, man. Like when I got to do when the Mark II came out, or when I got a hold of one, it was like that was the first thing I wanted to mess around with. And plus, now they added more delays, but like you said, all the delays in the Mark II now, every time you hit a pad, it re-triggers the delay. So what you had going on previous to when you hit that pad, it's some whole different shit now. The 404 isn't the only machine that can do this. Because on the Boiler Room, I was using a micro sampler, like you were saying, the keyboard into the SP, which was a 505 that I was using then. But you can also do, and this is another thing that I was a little bit like about the Boiler Room joint. There was some more shit. There's like more shit that I wanted to do. There was some stuff that I found where it's like, yeah, I gotta make sure I do this. Like, for example, the micro sampler does the exact same thing, and the loop is a little bit longer on the micro sampler. So I was like, okay, I only really had the 505 because the interface is a little bit easier. The knobs on the micro sampler are a little bit weird, which I actually replaced with SP knobs for my 202. But yeah, the layout on the SP is better, and also I had drums in the SP. So otherwise, I could have just used the micro sampler and did the same thing. So, you know, if the Mark II is being weird about it, you know, there's other ways that we can get at it. You know, on this SP, it's real cool that they got the what you call it, the feedback. You could drop that out for a minute, for a quick moment, and make space for whatever's the new thing you want to introduce into the loop. Let's see if this thing is this thing is thing is catch the tempo 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 thing is catch the tempo. And what's even smooth about the new one is that you could add and the loop is still going. You couldn't do that in the old school, like these two effects buses, you know.
Oh, because it's not affecting that bus.
Right.
Oh, damn, I didn't even know that.
Bus one, and then you could add some more shit on bus two, put reverb, you know, whatever you want to do with it, you know, which is the next level. And they got the new shit. And or you could just, you know, do the standard, you know, beef it up. So yeah, man, they you know, it's advantages to using the new shit. But let me see what other rhythms we got. So I just have to shut the whole shit off. All right. Let me get this out the chain. So yeah. The thing that's cool about it is, you know, when you change the divisions, that kind of gives you a whole different rhythm right there. So if you want to go into the triplets, you could just find a whole different type of style, like instantly. All you got to do is turn a knob and you in a different genre possibly.
Yeah.
Oh, but another little key to it is if you want to get the longest loop possible, just make sure that the tempo is set to as slow as possible.
Half time, basically.
Which is 40 on here.
Okay.
So, you know, that gives you the longest possible loop.
Okay. But does that mean the beat is 80, basically?
Now see, man, I don't even think about it like that. I just think of it in terms of like, I don't think of it as like BPMs. I think of it as far as time.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, you know, that might be a 2 or 3 second loop right there. Like, you know, that's kind of more how I think about it. And then you just catch the tempo as you just like you hear it. When it repeats, it's like, okay, that's your click. So just work with that. Yeah, man. I appreciate you reaching out and being interested, and you know, want to share it further. So yeah, man, let's keep it going, and I want to see what more cats is doing about it. You know, because you know this technique was introduced. I was almost close to 15 years ago. So it's cool that, you know, it's getting another look, and maybe some even younger cats can, you know, check it out, or, you know, some of the older cats can revisit and find some new things. So yeah, man, much appreciated.
So as you can see, he's a real humble guy. He doesn't really want to take credit for it. He just wants to continue to just do what he's doing. If anybody else gets to use the technique, then, he's done his job. So what I'm going to try to do is try to make a beat using this said technique with the SP404 Mark II. So I'm going to try my best to try to use this technique. And as I said to him, this is something that I'll most likely be using 90% on drums, just to get just to get a different swing, a different type of bop on drum patterns that I wouldn't normally do just programming my drums or playing them live. All right, so we're here in Ableton. So what I'm going to do is use same setup, SP404, Ableton, and the MIDI controller to trigger the sounds. I have a drum rack filled with sounds. I got a kick, got 2 kicks, couple hi-hats, rim shot, 2 rim shots, 3 snares. Is there something else I should put in there? Maybe a ride? I'll put a ride here, just in case. And then we try. So, okay, what he told me to do was to use the sync delay, make sure the feedback is all the way to 99, make sure the level is all the way 99, and this time is, I believe, is 1 bar, 1 of 1 bar. So if you were to switch it, that's a 1/4 bar, 1/2 bar, but you could use these as an effect, and I'll show you that in a minute if I figure out how to do this correctly. Turn on your delay, and then based on the tempo of your project, this is 90. So basically, if I press this in 1 bar, it should loop back, but that sounds a lot slower than 90 BPM. But anyways, we'll try it. And then you could use these to affect the all right, so as you can hear, that was trash. Let's try it again. I don't know. That's not it. Let me try half a bar, see if that makes it better. I'm gonna try to record that in. Okay, I think we're getting a little bit closer. Try another one. I think the shorter delay time. Let me try slower tempo. He specifically told me to go to 40 because that'll give me the most amount of time in between loops, because that's the lowest BPM that this thing will do. So if I go quarter, half a bar at 40 BPM, see what happens here. It's closer. It's getting closer. Let's try half a bar. what I'm doing is going back and forth from the audio that I'm recording to the drum rack so that I can trigger another sound if I want to add something. And then back to the audio if I want to record it. All right, I think that's good enough. Play this one. There you go. All right, so I already have a sample in Serato. Let's find samples and see if we can turn this into a beat. Throw my sample filter on this. Just to cut out the low end. And also sidechain it to the drum break that we made. Strangely, it's not even on the same BPM, but it still works. I don't know how that worked, but it worked. I could even process these drums a little bit more. Get a bass line, E minor, as according to Serato. Where's the damn E? There you go. Simple. false start. Like I said, I like to side chain the bass sometimes. And the drum rack is still here if I wanted to add something to it. It's supposed to be. And what I would do is turn these effects on the SP. Quick sequence. And somebody was asking in the comments how I would get this printed with this effect. So you basically would make a new effect and make sure, like I said, the SP is the input and output is going into Ableton, and then you just simply just record it. All right, so that's my first time trying out that technique, the Dakim delay technique, I'm going to call it. It's very inspiring. So didn't come out exactly as I expected it. If you're not familiar with Dakim, make sure you go check out some of his stuff on YouTube. Make sure you watch his Boiler Room. Follow him on Instagram. I'll leave a link to all that stuff in the description. This is definitely something that you could use if you're having beat block. For me, specifically with drum patterns, if you can't come up with an idea to get inspired from a drum pattern, you could throw the delay on, throw some sounds at it, and something like this could come out. If you want to see some more strange techniques like that, let me know. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe is all that shit they say. Make more beats.